It's Friday night. It's time for our second trip to the Global MX5 Championship here on iRacing as drivers compete for the opportunity to win themselves a chance competing in a real-life Global MX5 Championship. That starts next on Friday Night Primetime.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch, jam it. Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yeah! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, sexy. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Through behind you. Control. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar. In and out lap. What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. Hit me. Inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Welcome to the desert. Welcome to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca for round number 4 of the Global Mazda MX5 Championship here on iRacing Live and RaceSpot TV. This is the virtual series, which gives the drivers the opportunity to compete for a chance of a lifetime. The chance to spend a year running in the Global MX5 Championship, supported by BF Goodrich and Battery Venture Tank there. Sorry, I messed that one up there twice. Will Vincent, Connery Maddock, how's it going, Connery?
It's going absolutely fantastically well. Hello and everyone, and welcome to RaceSpot TV Primetime. And well, you mentioned that these drivers have a chance at getting that spot in the Mazda Road to 24, just like Glenn McGee did a year or so ago, and he went on to become a Mazda factory development driver as well. So big stakes are on the line.
It's the third time lucky. Battery Tender Global MX5 Championship presented by BF Goodrich. We are here, as we say, at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. There is the track details up for you. Track conditions are perfect here today in the desert. It is beautiful here today, Connery. Air temp 78 degrees Fahrenheit, wind speeds 2 miles an hour, 10 laps is the racing time here today. And 10 laps doesn't seem like a lot, but it's 10 laps even up the hill, and then 10 laps down the corkscrew.
Yeah, it really is. This is going to be a very, very fast race, very fast and furious race, but unlike some action movies that we can mention, I can't really guarantee that there'll be any explosions or backflips, but let's see coming down into the first corner.
Yep, so qualifying is pretty much complete then. Let's take you immediately to have a look at your starting grid. And actually, Hector Cecilia, pole position. We've got to talk about Hector Cecilia because, of course, he was that close last year to being the driver to make the difference and go and compete at Mazda Raceway. He's got, though, an unusual set of drivers behind him. Sonny Kanchin there from Club Australia New Zealand. How great would it be to see an Aussie New Zealand driver get the chance to fly across the Pacific and represent not just iRacing, but the entire community?
Yeah, it would be absolutely fantastic to see, and I know some of the Australian and New Zealanders would be very, very proud of their particular driver going off and doing some very, very great things. But as it stands right now, the championship is looking like it's going to be Omar Soto Jr., who is currently in this race P number 4 in qualifying. He currently tops the point standings right now with NASCAR Peak Entry Series driver Logan Clampett actually in second. Unfortunately, he's not here today, and there's also a couple of names like Sonny Kanchin on that list inside the top 10 as well.
Yep, third place on the grid is John D. Allen. I'm going to see if you know your American states here. When I say OH, what are you supposed to say?
I'm supposed to say Ohio.
Congratulations. Actually, you're supposed to just say IO. Just saying. So that's your top 4 drivers then here in the field here today. But we have a look back and you see David Williams there from Club UK and Ireland. He's in 5th place. We've got Thikern Pilecki there in 6th place. He's from Club Central Eastern Europe. Francisco Frustini even in the 7th place, and then Ricardo Silva in P number 8. Patrick Phils, we know him well. He is in 9th. Jack Hewlett in 10th place. He's from Club UK and Ireland. Wyatt Gooden, Radicals Online in P number 11. We're going to talk about drivers moving up through the field here today. Keep an eye out and circle that Wyatt Gooden name.
Yeah, exactly. And this field, as a whole, actually, is very, very close together. The entirety of the field is all within a second. All 12 cars within a second of the pole lap time. So this is going to be an absolutely crazy race, Will, if that trend holds. So
the drivers are now just heading themselves down to the starting grid. Let's look one more time at your track conditions here today. 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 55% race relative humidity, partially cloudy here in the desert, and 2-mile-an-hour wind speeds. 10 laps up the hill and down through the corkscrew. It is, some may see it from above as an easy track, but the elevation changes is something that you always need to be prepared for here today. And those drivers now are ready and they are lined up on the starting grid, so they're ready to go racing here this afternoon. So thank you so much for being a part of our coverage here on Friday Night Primetime. Don't forget, of course, it is race day in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series tomorrow. Racebot race day with the Formula One Sim Cup and also the Porsche Super Cup, as well as round number 7 of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. That is tomorrow, as part of our extended coverage of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. There is a look then, immediately after the start-finish line, is that little kink down at turn number 1, known as Fogarty's, as before they come down. It's what many people call the real turn 1, but actually at the start, having to crank that car to your left-hand side can prove to be difficult, as the drivers are now all pretty much lined up on the starting grid, and we are finally about ready to go. Lights then go on top of the iRacing.com gantry. 10 laps here, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, and it's going to start now. Pretty nice and easy start by the drivers. They head themselves down towards turn number 1. Our key battle is actually the battle going on for P number 2 right now, as we just get the dirt there off that camera. Side by side battle going on for P number 2 as they work themselves through real turn number 1 for the first time. And the drivers that we're seeing there is Sonny Cashlin then up into second place. Number 6 machine, Omar Soto Jr. battling it out in the number 10 machine of John D. Allen. But a pretty wild and crazy start here today, Connery.
Yeah, but it was an absolutely terrible start for the number 11 of Patrick Fields. From that number 9th position, drops all the way back to the field. He struggled to get himself off of the line. Battling side by side, though, coming into turn number 5. This is between David Williams and Pilecki, as Pilecki loses out, and now he has to battle with the car of Ricardo Silva as well, heading up towards the kink.
Yep, here they come then, up the kink for the first time. Let's ride on board with Ricardo Silva as he works himself up that hill then for the first time in this event. And now they come down to one of the most famous corners in all of motorsports. That is the corkscrew. Look how they go down the elevation changes. And then again, as they flick themselves through that left-hander. And now that, actually the thing that people forget is that right-hander down in second to last corner is actually so difficult, Connery.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult indeed, and not really that much margin for error as you're still going downhill at that point, carrying more momentum than you perhaps expect. As side by side through the final corner go Pileski in the number 12 and Wyatt Gooden in the number 2. They'll take it side by side coming down the pit straight, with the only 2 cars doing so at this moment in time.
Yeah, indeed so. So on to lap number 2 we go then here on Racesport TV. Live timing and scoring is now available for this event. Just visit racesport.tv/timing to get all of that for you. Although we have a little bit of side-by-side action going on. That is Wyatt Gooden right now alongside the number 12 machine on board with that number 12 machine right now. It does look as though, as we have a look from up above, that he has got that position there over Wyatt Gooden for the time being.
Yes, that does seem to be the case, but those guys are absolutely nose to tail going side by side for a majority of the previous lap as well. So these guys are relatively evenly matched, and this is the racing for P number 8 and P number 9. Not even, well, more than halfway through the field right there. Still great racing to be seen. As your top couple of cars, they're still relatively close together as well, but Cecilia is still setting the pace at this stage.
Yep, Cecilia's breaking the people's hearts as they work themselves into the corkscrew for the second time in this event. And well, the gap between Cecilia and the number 1 machine there of Sonny isn't actually that big though. It's only about 1/3 of a second right now. So Sonny actually has got himself a fantastic opportunity. Hezzer Cecilia needs to realize that yes, whilst winning this race will be important to him, the last thing he can do is bin it. And again, we talk about at the end of this, there is, you know, the majority of it, it's a points battle, but once they get into that final, the judges will be paying attention to their performance over the course of the season and in the real race when they get into that. So these moves, as decisive as they are, they really do matter. And Sonny actually did close up down to just about 0.2 of a second into turn 2.
Yeah, and I'm not actually seeing Hezzer Cecilia inside of the top 20 in the standings. So if he really is going for that spot on the road to the 24, he really does need this points hill to get any points haul, shall we say, to get anywhere near that top 20. As these 2 cars at the front just start to break away a little bit right now. The other 2 behind, Omar Soto Jr., your current points leader, and John Allen, they're going to be fighting out for P number 3 as well. As we look down your field, there's a couple of other gaggles of cars from P number 6 all the way down to P number 10. Patrick Fields trying to get past Wyatt Gooden for P number 9.
Yeah, there is Patrick Fields right now. We go on board of him for the moment as he exits turn number 5. Up the hill we come. And we talk about helmets. Of course, Patrick Fields has got one of the best helmets here. I think the only person that I know who has got a better helmet than him, and I've forgotten his name, is the Commander Sim Sports driver of, not Andre Borchardt.
Jon Jens?
Jon Jens, that's the one I was thinking of. You know exactly what I mean. But the helmet of Patrick Fields is absolutely fantastic to see. You can see it partially there on your onboard camera as we go back on board of him, actually, as he now comes through that very difficult turn, number 10. Into 11 he comes right now. And, well, for Patrick Fields, the thing about a 10-lap race is you've not got a lot of time. And, actually, he's going to want to try and do a 2-for-1 special if he's lucky. But this field is so tightly packed. He needs a good exit of the final corner. He gets that. Now, over Wyatt Gooden. What you actually want is for Gooden to now get the slipstream to the number 12 machine and the number 9 car just ahead of him and to put himself alongside. That's not going to happen. The draft isn't that big here today. The short straightaways at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca means that you don't get easy passes.
No, you really don't. And you have to remember that Patrick Fields is also recovering from an absolutely terrible getaway off the line. It almost seemed like he stalled out. He was going so slow as he still tries to find my way past his train. Battling ahead of him, though, is Ricardo Silva coming down the inside of Jake Hewlett there. And there's also going to be Pileski getting himself involved in this one. Not going to make it 3 white. Nope, just the 2 for now.
Yeah, as we've got 3 white cars almost here. The Intel machine on your right-hand side. That's the number 12 machine there of Thick and Pileski. As they're almost going to go 3 wide as they head themselves up the hill here. This could be fun as they work themselves then 2 wide for the moment. And Silva, he's the driver's second in line. On board of him, he's got a driver to his left-hand side. And they're going to go 2 wide as they head themselves up to the corkscrew. Last of the late breakers time. Who's going to get it? And the answer's going to be they're going to stay side by side as they head themselves down the hill. There's actually, surprisingly, no real contact between these drivers. Absolutely fantastic racing here this evening.
Yeah, this is an absolutely fantastic example of racecraft in action. You can go 2 wide, sometimes 3 wide, without making contact with other cars, not moving someone out of the way as they head their way down into what is the final corner right now. Absolutely nose to tail as Carlos Silva just slightly slow on the apex. Jake Hewlett just had to tap the brakes just a little bit to avoid running into the back of him as they head their way onto lap number 5.
Jake Hewlett then into that 5th lap of the motor race, currently scored in P number 8, the 7th driver in terms of I rating. Looks to the outside in towards turn number 2. Is he going to be able to get it? He tries to go around the outside, and actually he's going to lose a place to Wyatt Gooden as a consequence, although he will have himself the inside line into the next corner. So battling still going on. In fact, yeah, Hewlett will keep that position a little bit further up though. Worth noting, Omar Soto Jr. still in 3rd place. You talked about Soto Jr. earlier on in this broadcast, and well, for him, we talk about points races. He is a driver who does need a good points race here today.
Yeah, he really does. Even though he is at the top of the point standings, he can't afford to really lose that many races slip from his grasp, because you do have a couple of drop weeks here, but those quickly start to dry up if you make mistakes here and there. But running P3 right now, that is a good points haul for him to stay on the top of the table.
Yeah, and of course, 3rd place for him, that's okay, especially in a high strength of field race like this. But what he doesn't want to do is put too much pressure on. We see it so often here in these cars. The drivers just push a little bit too much, get a little bit too aggressive, and just bin it. And a track like this is very easy. And as soon as you go off onto the gravel, the sand, the dust, the dirt, you end up putting yourself into a very precarious position. John D. Allen from Ohio right now versus David Williams from Club UK and Ireland. 4th place on the line right now. VRS Command, a Sim Sports Machine versus the number 10 car. Past the start-finish line. 2nd half of the motor race starts now.
Yes, it does, and John Allen's actually going to be a bit too far back to be making a move, but he just drags the brakes a little bit coming down into at the Andretti hairpin, just in case the opportunity arises, and then they're going to head their way down into the turn number 3, and then turn number 4, the 2 right-handers right at the start of the lap. John Allen just still not there just yet. Meanwhile, that battle for the P number 7, 8, 9, and 10 is still going on with cars very, very close together.
Yeah, it's not often in a race like this we're spending our time looking at drivers outside the top half of the field, but it is important for point, but also for personal pride right now. We're having a look at Jake Hewlett versus Wyatt Gooden. P8 versus P number 9, separated by 2 tenths of a second. You see the gap behind. Well, that's also 2 tenths of a second right now. Patrick Fields does have a 14-second advantage over 11th place driver. 2 drivers really have been in the wars here today. We haven't really talked about them, but we'll show them up on your screen right now. The first one is Pablo Azura Castro, number 5 machine from Club Iberia. The other one is Francesco, number 4 machine. He has dropped down to the very rear of the field here today.
Yes, yeah, not a great day at the office for those 2 particular drivers at the back of the field, as they're still jostling for these positions just in and around the top 10 area. Jake Hewlett managed to get himself away from this train a little bit, and a little bit of a bump attack from Ricardo Silva on Wyatt Gooden there, the number 2 machine, as they look to head side by side coming into the final corner. Silva's going to stick his nose all the way down the inside there, doesn't get good enough traction off the corner, and they're going to make it 3 wide coming out of the last turn, 3 wide across the stripe.
Here we are then, our aerial coverage brought to you by Mazda as they head themselves down in towards turn number 1. Wyatt Gooden will have himself the advantage up into P number 8. Ricardo Silva, Patrick Fleers going side by side. The number 9 machine there, Silva, trying to hold the outside line even, because he knows he has the inside line for what is realistically turn number 3. Blue Flag Racing Machine now on the outside. Who's going to get the advantage? The answer is going to be Ricardo Silva. Should just about get this as they head themselves underneath the bridge, and indeed he just about does there.
Yeah, very, very close indeed, but Patrick Fields just has to settle again for that 10th place that he's been stuck in for the past couple of laps, unable to advance his position as he rides the back bumper pretty closely coming through turn number 5. He shows the nose coming down into the kink, but going side by side through the kink is definitely a dangerous proposition. He power slides it coming through there on the run up towards the corkscrew now, and just looking back at that fight between David Williams and John Allen, that one is still on. John Allen's still looking for a gap, not finding one.
Yeah, as we just then turn our attention over to David Williams, there we can see him. They have dropped back 1.1 seconds back from Omar Soto Jr., so this now really is a two-horse race, and actually they may end up going side by side into the final corner. The answer to that is going to be no, but maybe Alan can get himself a good run out of that final corner. So they work themselves now towards the start-finish line. There's a look from on board with David Williams as they head themselves past the start-finish line. Again, short straightaway here for these drivers, so you're going to have to make it work under braking. Lap number 8 of 10 on the outside then will go James Allen. Cannot make it work through turn number 1. Closes up then for the second apex. Now they're coming towards turn number 3, and well, now you've got to wait.
Yeah, he has to wait, and you have to wonder how long he can wait as he rides almost towards the back bumper of the VRS kind of SimSport driver in front of him. No contact in the end, though, but that was very, very close to being a little bit of a tap from John Allen, letting David Williams know that he's there. But we can't ignore the battle for the race lead either, because that one is still within 0.3 of a second coming across the line, and it's still the same right now as they head up towards the kink. It's just that Sonny Katchen just hasn't been able to make a move on Cecilia yet.
Yeah, I want to show you this replay again. We just saw it once. I want to show it to you one more time. This is Patrick Fleece basically playing ping pong with another driver who basically pushes him to overshoot over White Good. And that's a number 9 machine there. And Ricardo Silva is now actually out of this event as a consequence of that. Patrick Fleece is up in position, but we just saw, I would say that's a little bit of a dirty move right there. As we're going to go back to your race lead right now. Sonny Katchen has closed up over Hezza Cecilia. We're going to have 2 laps to go at the line. 1/4 of a second is the gap. And well, it's like Sunday night. It's like Monday night skippies here. You've got to wait for your opportunity. And this now is the opportunity for the number 1 driver in this field. Sonny Katchen versus Hezza Cecilia. 2 powerhouses on the iRacing service in these Mastercars, going at it for glory. And Katchen looks down to the inside and towards turn number 1. There's a bump as they come down in towards turn number 2, and that means that Sonny Katchen, looking side by side right now for the race lead, gives it up for the moment.
Yeah, exactly, and that was a little bit of a, well, a little bit dangerous move there, just giving the rear bumper to here's Cecilia. But I think actually Katchen backed out of that one like a gentleman, just let the race leader by again and not challenge the move, because he actually said sorry over the radio for that move right there. So this battle is still on, but that was a very interesting moment.
Now the issue for Katchen, he's got to close up 0.4 of a second in a lap and a half as they work themselves through towards the kink once again. And actually, giving back time here can cost you quite a lot. Katchen does get a better run through the kink over Hezza Cecilia, who takes a lot of curb. But actually, Cecilia does get the better run through that corner. The gap's now up to 2/3 of a second. We'll come to the white flag in a moment's time. John Allen versus David Williams. That's still going on as we come towards the white flag.
Yeah, very, very close, coming through the corkscrew, coming towards the final couple of corners of the lap, coming into this long left-hander. Allen is there, but he's not finding a gap right now, and he's still looking for it on the inside of the penultimate corner. Still not there as they head towards the final corner. Will Allen sling one down the inside here? No, he does not have the run, but he's going to try and go deep on the brakes and try and get a good exit here for a potential move coming down into turn number 1 as we take the white flag.
So 1 more lap to go. Hezza Cecilia leads. There's the gap then to Sonny Katchen as they head themselves past the start-finish line, in through 1, in towards turn number 2. A look then from the rear of Sonny Katchen as they head themselves through that double apex. Right-hander. Now you've got to wait. There's only realistically 1 more opportunity for Katchen, but he is 0.6 of a second behind Hezza Cecilia right now. The contact may well have hurt him. There are no other real battles going on except for Allen versus Williams. But I will say, actually, I think Allen's driving too hard right now. He's not going to be anywhere near close enough unless he gets a lunge into the final corner over the driver of David Williams. Exiting through turn number 5, keeping an eye out on front, keeping an eye out on this battle going on as well. Hezza Cecilia heading himself through the kink. Hezza Cecilia now heading himself down towards the corkscrew for the final time. It will be a mistake if anything, if Hezza Cecilia is going to lose this motor race at this point in time, on board from the rear, that's how much the elevation drop is. The gap is still 0.6 of a second in towards the second to last corner. They head themselves now, and Hezza Cecilia is now just going to be one corner away from taking victory in the 4th round of the iRacing Global MX5 Championship here on Racesport TV and on iRacing Live. They exit the final corner for the final time. Hezza Cecilia wins here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Could that be an omen for later on in the year? Sonny Cantion in there, 2nd place. Omar Soto Jr. rounds out your top 3, Connery.
Yeah, and the rest of the drivers are just going to trickle across the line, but an absolutely solid drive from Hezza Cecilia means that he takes this one by about 0.4 of a second. Not really troubled all that much, but he's only catching except for that little bump coming in towards 2 to go into the turn number 1. But that battle between Omar Soto Jr. and David Williams was absolutely fantastic as well, but Soto Jr. is the one that came out on top.
Yep, there's a look at your final race results up on your screen. Hezza Cecilia wins by 0.4 of a second over Sonny Cantion. Omar Soto Jr. 3rd place. David Williams in 4th. John Allen rounds out your top 5. Theekon Paskalski there in P number 6. Jack Hewlett in 7th. White Gooden in P number 8. Patrick Fields in 9th. And Pablo Azura Castro rounds out your top 10. There's the remainder of your results. We'll step aside for one moment. Back with roundups after this message.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
Tomorrow, it's round number 7 of Racesport Race Day. That means the Formula Renault Sim Cup is back from Imola. The iRacing Porsche Super Cup is back from Imola. And we will find out if anyone can beat Martin Kroenke in the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Connery, is Kroenke unbeatable?
It certainly is looking that way, I have to say. Winning all of the races so far in the World Championship Grand Prix Series, it's hard to say that anyone else will be in for the rest of the season. Of course, there is that slight possibility that someone may make a very nice strategy call or Martin Kroenke runs into trouble, but it's not looking very likely right now, is it?
It's that whole situation, actually, you almost want to watch just to see if he can do the clean sweep. It's like the time that we saw the Patriots go 16-0 in the regular season of the NFL. You kind of want to see it, so catch it tomorrow here on Racesport TV and on iRacing Live. Here, though, today in Friday night prime time, it has been the Global MX5 Championship, the iRacing Global MX5 Championship, and well, I will say one thing, that this track, of course, hosts the Global MX-5 Invitational. It is a integral part of the Battery Tender Global MX-5 Championship presented by BF Goodrich, and I got it right that time, of course. And this track does scream Mazda, and I think we want Mazda back in Le Mans as well, in terms of proper LMP competition.
Yeah, exactly. Since that LMP1 field especially, field is looking a little bit thin. But if Mazda can come along and put their own LMP1 effort in, that would be absolutely fantastic to see, and it will definitely make the LMP1 field much more interesting. Apart from Toyota's having issues.
Yeah, and you never know, if one Japanese manufacturer can't do it, maybe another one can. Zoom, zoom.
Oh, yes.
Indeed so. So that is pretty much all we've got time for. But before we go, I just want to talk about a couple of points of this event. Patrick Fields had that horrible start, finished only P number 9. Shows how hard it can be to overtake it with Laguna Seca.
Yeah, exactly. And that start he had, which was absolutely terrible, just spelled doom for the rest of his race, really, because he was stuck behind Wyatt Gooden and the rest of that train just inside the top 10. And we have to tell our viewers that this strength of field was around about 6,000. It was actually 6,281. And that is very, very, very high. And, well, some of your pro drivers are in that 6,000 and 7,000 range. So the skill level of this field was absolutely insane today.
Yeah, and just having a look through the drivers, actually, the driver that had number 12, 5,096. And we are looking there at the top 15% of the best iRacing drivers on the service taking part here today on Friday Night Prime. And of course, when you're that good, it's not about tenths of a second, it's about thousandths of a second. We did see that there with Sonny Kalsten versus Hezzer Cecilia at the end. One little mistake there by Sonny, having to almost kind of give that race lead back to Hezzer Cecilia. That is the difference really between a last lap charge and also the chance of victory.
Yeah, I think he did actually lift out, unless he can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he did actually lift out once that bump happened, because I felt like he didn't really want to challenge for position and maybe take the position under such questionable circumstances, shall we say. But who knows? If he did keep his foot in it, who knows? Maybe he would have won this race.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of our coverage here tonight. This has been the 4th round of the iRacing Mazda Global MX-5 Championship from the home of Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. We'll be back, of course, next Friday for Friday Night Prime Time. However, in the meanwhile, don't forget another fantastic weekend's worth of racing coming your way. We'll see you all very, very soon.